these great grassy mounds, these tumulus, as he calls them. I guess it's page 9. They're big and handsome, these homes of the dead cut out of living rock, just like houses. The Romans always burned their slaves, whereas at Cerveteri, the masters were laid full length, sometimes in great stone sarcophagi, etc. And I think the slaves with them is what he was trying to say. Well, I have to skip along here, or I'm never going to get anywhere. You see some of the animal, but if you go along here, the tomb seems so easy and friendly. Cut out of rock underground. What page is that? 13 or so? One does not feel oppressed descending into them. It must be partly owing to the peculiar charm of natural proportion. There's one of his ideas. Natural proportion. Which is in all Etruscan things of the unspoiled, unromanized centuries. A simplicity combined with most peculiar, free-breasted naturalness and spontaneity. This is the philosophy that he is presenting to you. In the shapes and movements of the underworld, I think it's the thing that we today, to some extent, respond to. Movements of the underworld walls and spaces that are once reassures the spirit. The Greeks sought to make an impression. This is why he likes pre-Greek things. Gothic, meaning the medieval with its tall cathedrals, still more wants to overwhelm you, impress you. The Etruscans, no. The things they did in their easy centuries, and he may be reading too much into it, but I think he's got it probably right, are as natural and as easy as breathing. That's what he wants. They leave the breast breathing freely and pleasantly with a certain fullness of life, even the tombs, and that is true of Etruscan quality. Ease, naturalness, abundance of life, no need to force the mind or soul in any direction. Just be natural. And to the death, to the Etruscan, was a pleasant continuance of life. Natural continuance of the fullness of life. Everything in terms of life, living. In everything, Etruscans say the tombs have been wiped out. Seems strange. One goes out again into the April sunshine, to the sunken road. So he goes, he compares, there's some phallic stones outside some of these tombs. Lingams, as he calls them. So he sees his first phallic stones outside the tumuli, some carved very beautifully with inscriptions on the tumuli. Further along. And perhaps in the insistence on these two symbols, the other symbol is the arcs, as he calls it. The arc or the wound. So this, if you like, lingus, which is a phallic symbol, which is just the male sex organ, and arcs, female symbol. In the Etruscan world, we can see the reason for the utter destruction and annihilation of the, I've been to Italy and places. If you go to Pompeii, you can walk down the streets and you can get hit by a penis sticking out from the buildings. Just knock you in the head if you don't worry about it. You can go to a building in Pompeii and there'll be a big, huge phallus, right in the courtyard, bigger than a human. This is what was going on back then in those places. They called them herms, H-E-R-M-E-S. And it begins here with the Etruscans. The New World, the utter destruction, see, he wants to release this, which is where he's coming back from releasing the sexuality in that, in his literature and in his art. The New World wanted to rid itself of these fatal dominant symbols of the Old World, the morality, the Puritanism. The Etruscan consciousness was rooted quite blindly in the symbols, the phallics and the arcs. So the whole consciousness, the whole Etruscan pulse and rhythm had to be wiped out. Now we see again in the blue heavens with the larks singing. Why the Romans called the Etruscan vicious. Even in the palmiest days, Romans were not saints. But they thought they ought to be. They hated the phallus and the arc because they wanted empire, dominion, riches, social gain. You cannot dance gaily to the double flute and at the same time conquer nations or rake in large sums of money. To the greedy man, everybody that is in the way of his greed is vice incarnate. And he's getting there. He's getting to what he's talking about. For him, life is enough. You don't need empire. You don't need vast amounts of wealth and things of that kind. Okay, so we finished with Chervateri. I got to move on quickly over here, if I can, to Tarquinian. Just the last sentence of the Chervateri